Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas. Happy December. I hope you all had an amazing Thanksgiving with your family. I hope you guys had a lot of amazing food. Comment down below the best food that you had over Thanksgiving. And do you guys have turkey or ham? Personally, I had a lot of ham. Not any turkey. Kind of miss it. Since it was Thanksgiving, we had a week off of school. So we were working for a week straight. I don't think I was ever inside except to eat meals and have a gingerbread house contest. Except it wasn't with gingerbread, it was actually with graham crackers, but my group totally won. I mean, look at these photos and tell me that these are not the best gingerbread houses you've ever seen, or graham cracker house. All in all, it was a great break. I spent it mostly with cows and concrete. You heard that, concrete, in the middle of November. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how we can still continue to work and do construction even when it is cold outside. And I mean cold, y'all. This winter is going to be a cold one. So these are the cold truths. Workers just don't stop working because it gets cold. But if you're new to this and you want to know some tips, this is a great episode for you. But that's the thing. When the cold starts, the work doesn't stop. So the cold doesn't care about the fact that you have to feed your animals or continue building if you want to make any progress, but we care. So here's some great tips. So there is a lot of problem solving that will need to happen. For example, when we poured concrete this break, let me just pause right here and tell you how so excited we were to pour this concrete. To put it in perspective for you, our break was basically a Saturday to a Saturday, okay? We had 1 week, and then one of those days was Thursday, Thanksgiving, so we knew we wouldn't really get anything done. And we said, this week, we really want to pour concrete, and we were planning to pour concrete on a Friday. We called the concrete company, and they said that they won't be pouring on Friday because of Thanksgiving, which is fine. So we had to brainstorm, okay, I guess we won't pour concrete. But then me and Jesse had our hearts set on pouring concrete on Wednesday, so 2 days earlier than we planned. And this was on Tuesday that we decided this. So we spent all of Tuesday working over 12 hours trying to prep for this concrete. It had rained on Monday and Tuesday. So it was a muddy, muddy mess out there. So we spent the whole day trying to make sure it wouldn't be too muddy. We had to frame for the concrete, get prepped for the concrete, finish all the plumbing under it, do the propane. We had to do a bunch of stuff to make it ready. But we were optimistic, and I'm so glad that we were, because we were able to pour on Wednesday. So Thursday, we put in a 12-hour day, right? Wednesday, we're getting up early. We're going to pour around, we were trying to get ready to pour around 12:30. So we're spending all morning still prepping, laying down the wire and the tarp. And we made it just in time for the concrete to arrive. And once the concrete arrived, it was game on. We started pushing the concrete around, doing the screed board, like we were doing it all. We poured this pad ourselves, but we had to order the concrete from a company, obviously. But we had spent all of Wednesday pouring it pretty much, or the second half of Wednesday. And then, because of how much we had to spread it, because the ground was still a little wet, we had to make the mix pretty watery. And when it's watery, it doesn't dry as fast. So we weren't able to do the power trowel until like 11 or 10 at night. So that was no fun. And they ended up doing that until 12:30, midnight that night. So we pulled another, we pulled like a 14-hour day that day. But the concrete was done. But then we had a challenge that we had to face. it is going to freeze the second and third night. And the second and third night after pouring concrete are one of the most important nights when the concrete is curing. So we were like, well, you can't have concrete freeze, or you can't have concrete be in the freezing weather, because since there's water in the concrete, if that freezes, your concrete isn't as strong. So we found this thing called concrete blankets, which is basically like a tarp with some insulation in it. That helps keep some heat in to make up for the degrees that would be, under the freezing. So I think it was going to be like 32 or 29. So that insulation really helps. So we put the blankets on for a couple days, and then it cured beautifully. So all in all, that's just an example of how you have to get creative and work with your time. And it actually worked out perfectly pouring on Wednesday, because we found out that it was going to rain on Saturday, and it did rain. Imagine if we had poured concrete Friday, it would have been ruined. So I'm so glad it worked out and that we got that done, and that was a big deal. So now I want to get into some frost fight tips so that you can get through this winter. This is stuff that we've learned the hard way, so learn from us so that you don't have to undergo the mistakes we made. First tip, warm up your equipment. For example, if you're using a telehandler, like we use a lot, when it gets cold, it's not going to want to start. Your equipment doesn't want to be out in the cold either. So when you're trying to start it or run it right away, it does not want to do it. So warm up your equipment. Turn on your equipment and let it run for a while before you get in and use it or accelerate too fast. Also, when you heat it up, it saves fuel, saves headaches, and it keeps you from blowing something expensive. So let your equipment warm up. This one comes directly from my heart. Don't cheap out on gloves. Okay, when we were pouring concrete, I had my gloves get wet with the concrete and other things, and my hands were freezing afterward. Buy 1 or 2 solid pairs of gloves. I would also suggest the gloves to have good grip and good insulation to keep your hands warm. The way that the cold makes your fingers hurt when they are not being kept warm, if you know, you know. So with your equipment like drills and saws and all the batteries, keep your batteries warm. Your drills, your impact, your phone, store them in a warm-ish area like a shop or inside the building. Don't leave them outside or don't leave them in the cold for too long. You don't want them somewhere where it's basically a freezer. It keeps your batteries good, keeps them warmed up, ready to go, so that when you're ready to go, they're ready to go too. Another thing I would say, layer smart and not bulky. Like you should have an underlayer, like leggings like I'm wearing, a shirt kind of like I'm wearing actually, or like a hoodie, and then a Carhartt, and then maybe some snow pants over top, some socks. Layer the socks. My feet get cold too, not just my hands. You could also like wear a windbreaker. That really helps. But being too bulky makes you look like a marshmallow and you don't have as much mobile movement as you would like. So being able to stay warm, yet conscious that you have to move or run, that's where it's at. These little tips and things make winter not more fun, but definitely more workable. And I hate the cold. So that's kind of with construction and what we do to keep warm. And then with farming, like with animals particularly, the water likes to freeze. So like for the cows, we'll have to go break some ice so that they can drink. And for the chickens, we have like this heated bowl that makes sure that the water doesn't turn into ice. And that really helps too. But having to break ice is terrible. And you still gotta feed your animals in the cold. So just layer up and be warm and don't forget to stay mobile. Okay, another thing that I want to talk about with winter is safety tips. Because not only is winter just so fun, but it could get dangerous sometimes too. Just keep an eye out for ladders, surfaces, things like that, because you do not want to slip off the ladder or roof or something like that. That would be terrible and the end of your career. These things can turn into slip and slides overnight, and you could end up doing the splits, and you didn't even know you could do them. Always test your footing before you're trying to commit to something big. And you can always use sand or salt to de-ice the area. Another thing to think about is frozen hydrants and hoses. When it's freezing outside, hoses can crack a lot easier. Give your equipment, again, time to warm up before you put any pressure on it. Also, watch your cords and airlines. Extension cords can get stiff, airlines can freeze, and before you know it, nothing is working. Keep them warm if you can. Check for cracks when you can. Just make sure your equipment is being taken care of and kept in a warm-ish area. With snow, steam, or early sunrises, it can also get hard to see with your lights, so just make sure you're taking it slow and being careful so you don't slip on the ice when you're driving or hit anything. Just try to think before you do anything too crazy. Now, even though I've been dissing a lot about the winter weather because it's not my favorite, there are some winter wins that I wanted to talk about. Like the first one, the sunrise. Winter sunrises just hit different. The sky turns pink, the frost sparkles on the equipment. For a second, everything looks like it belongs on a Christmas card, and it's really quiet and peaceful because snow absorbs sound. So it's just really nice and serene to just sit and look at. Second one, no overheating. Summertime can be great and filled with fun, but also when you're working in 90 to 100 degree weather every day, you can start to get overheated and sweat and dehydrated, so at least you're not overheating. Third win, the ground firms up. This is a really big win for us, especially this week, because like I said, when we were pouring concrete, the ground was so wet and we had to problem solve like crazy and put so much rock down just to make sure we don't sink more than 5 feet, especially in our trench area. So the fact that in the winter the ground firms up can be great for driving equipment, just no fun if you're digging something. So maybe dig during the summer or the fall, but definitely not the winter because the ground really firms up. Also, an obvious reason why the winter season is so fun is because of Christmas. Like, I am so excited for Christmas, as you can tell. I even have my sloth shirt on. Stay chill. I just love the vibes of Christmas, and then after Christmas is New Year's, so lots of new beginnings, lots of fun things. And in winter, there's Black Friday, which we had last week. We got a lot of tools, a lot of DeWalt. I got some fun stuff too, especially recording equipment, which I am so excited to use and so excited to show you guys. Like, for example, I got Meta glasses! Yes! They were on sale, and I'm so excited for you guys to see content from these things. It's going to bring a whole new point of view to our videos. You can see it from the first person. Alright, so that's all my tips for today. So I want to end with a farm fact or fiction. Roosters keep the same crowing schedule even in winter. That's fiction. Roosters respond to light, not time. So later sunrise, later crowing, earlier sunrise, earlier crowing. So if you get to sleep an extra 30 minutes in the winter, thank the sun, because the rooster is not going to crow unless the sun comes up. All right, y'all, that's a wrap on the winter grind. Thanks for hanging out. If you're working out in the cold, we see you. We appreciate you. And we are right there with you. If you have any tips on ways to get by in the cold, comment down below. I would love to hear more tips. And if you enjoyed these tips, let me know too. Give us a subscribe. Don't forget to follow and share this podcast. And until next time, I hope you guys have a happy Friday. Keep those boots dry and those engines running. Bye!